guys, how are you? I'm going to be starting some free yes and no if you want to put it down below, and then my full list is open as well. Hey guys, how are you? I'm doing a free yes and no. Let me see if I could put the thing on here. All right, this is for Neffy, and this is about Jerry. So he's not going to reach out right now. So pursuing something more right now is not the focus, but it's not like you're not going to hear from him. You are. It's just that he is trying to accomplish something he's been working on. So this can be his career or something that he's doing that's, very important. So if he's a student or if he's, whatever his work is, whatever his focus is. So that means be patient. Okay. All right, the next one is Marissa. Did Mustafa remove you from his work, social media, to get your attention? I'm gonna pass on that question. If you want to rephrase it, I'll answer it. So you're assuming he did that. You're assuming that he, So there's an assumption in the question. I don't lead the question. All right, let's see, Letitia, why did Perry stop watching your social media? So let's get an energy check more or less on Perry. So there is another female that is in, hang on one second, I was getting some kind of invite, I don't know what happened. Sorry. There is some kind of, there is another female in the story. So there is something else pulling him away, and it doesn't necessarily mean he has to have feelings. It can also mean that there could be some drama or pressure. So there is someone involved is my answer. So that doesn't mean I'm saying they're involved. It means that there's a female that has distracted the situation. It doesn't mean it's attraction. It means it could be for something that is upsetting him as well. You understand? Okay, so the answer is another woman, but not for a reason you're going to naturally put on there. All right, because I say something and the imagination runs wild. Don't add to what I said. Okay, let's see. Lexi, will Victor and you fix your relationship? For Victor. there's a couple of things that are coming up here. This talks about you having your own agenda, your own plan, your own way of trying to make it work, not only emotional, but there's other things you've done that are calculated. And it also talks about him focused on something that doesn't really involve you or place you on the forefront. So this is mixed agendas. So will you get it to work? Will you fix it? I think there's a lot of things not being clarified between both of you. And there's a trust issue, and there's a couple of things. Well, are you going to be able to work it out? It's possible, but you're going to need some help. So, all right, let's see. Shanice, will Talashan ever speak to you again? At this time, no. This talks about a person having a loss of something very dear to them. So, Jasmine, should you stop pouring so much into Kyle? Well, you really can't erase the fact that this is stealing your energy away. Some questions don't need to be asked. You know, do you need reassurance from the outside world to tell you a yes on something you already know? I hate to be direct, but all right. Does Colin want to be in a relationship with you for Linnea? Colin. The problem is not whether he wants to be in a relationship with you or not. The problem is that the way so I do see immaturity, and I do see, you know, arguments and being self-centered. So I do see that the way that it's being handled, he's not putting you first, but at the same time, I do see that there are things that you enjoy together very much, and there are plans that you have made, but then it's very bittersweet. So at this point, it's the fact that if he doesn't step up to plate and do things the way that you need for your happiness, and that's not something you choose, you know, everybody has their own style. If he doesn't step up to plate and you don't do your part also in addressing with boundaries, because this talks about a person not, you know, waiting on that other person to get it right. When you kind of have to put your foot down and carve it and allow what you allow. So there's a lot of things that have been done from the beginning that's gotten messy. So this, he does want to be in one, but I see that there's a mess of things. Lack of boundaries on your part, and on his part is lack of maturity. All right, Adriana, should you continue talking to Hector? So I do see attraction, and I do see that he sees you in a way that you love to be seen, the way that you see yourself in his eyes is an ideal, so that is very attractive. However, I do see bad influences surrounding the couple. So this is, you know, gossip, or maybe someone meddling, definitely someone meddling for sure. But it's coming from different angles. I see that it's a connection where two people have chemistry, a connection where there has been a lot of really nice things, but it's it's troubled. It's troubled because of issues. Okay? So it's troubled because of issues. Lita, is it over with Keith? Remember, guys, when you ask me a question for free, okay, I'm giving you the answer I guess you could say it's kind of like an energy check on what you're asking. If you want the whole story and you want me to go into the past, you want a future prediction of what's going to happen, and you want a very detailed reading on the present, what's gone on, which is what a full reading entails. Those are available, okay? But on the free ones, it's a quick energy check on the gist of what you're asking, okay? So like if a person is asking, person A is asking about person B, I'm going to give you, the idea. So it's on my, there are platform rules. So I can tell you that it's on my information page. It's there. Okay, Wendy, does Jack ever come back to the relationship, I assume? I would say that this is a person that feels that they are where they need to be. Yes. Yes, they are. Mm-hmm. They are through the live, and then there's the other ones as well that are through, yeah. Okay, Zamira, does Javi like you back romantically? Javi or Javi or whatever. I think you need to work on that connection more. There's something from his past that he maybe is comparing, or maybe you're laying out stories about your past. I think you need to give it a little bit more time. You need to be more patient and work at it, So, because as of right now, no. Ciara, you need to know if Jess is seeing other people romantically. All right, and to see if you're being played. So that's a full reading. I'm not going to do that for free, but I will look at. I will look and see if Jess is seeing other people. There is no one that is official, but there is someone trying to be in the picture, especially weaving their way because of an emotional loophole. So let's say person A is you, person B is the person you're asking about, person C is a person that wants to be in the picture, but they are going to person B and they're realizing that there's something that kind of hurts them, or it's an issue, and they're trying to like disguise and be like, oh, I'm going to be there for them, but they really have other intentions. So there's nothing solid yet, but there is a person trying to be in it, and this person may be a Libra or have Libra placements. So sun, moon, rising, or stellium is what you're looking for. All right, Melissa, will you hear from Kevin? All right, is Kevin interested in you? So this talks about a spark, but this talks about something that you have to work a little bit more at. So be where he's going to be. Try to get, bump into him, whatever, maybe through friends, whatever the deal is, without seeming pushy or clingy, but you kind of have to like manifest that connection, and you end up bumping into each other, or maybe it's online, or there's got to be something. You have to put more effort. Okay, yeah, the attraction is there, but it's not like you're on the radar and that's his goal. Not yet. Hopefully soon. Okay, let's see. I'm a little bit behind here. Okay, let's see. Sheila, will Jen C and you, hang on, I went too fast. Will Jen C and you have a long-term relationship? That's an astrology question. I am a love specialist in astrology. I'm going to look at the energy that you have right now. Okay. If you want me to evaluate the relationship, I need to study your moon and his moon. Right. And I have that available, as well, if you want that reading. Okay, let's see. I would say right now, the answer would be no. I would say that this is him pulling back. So there's a he gives a stoic vibe. So, all right, Sandy, how will your cosmetology school go for you? Okay, cosmetology. Okay, the first part, so you're asking not a forever question because that's not possible. To study the destiny line very far, I need to, do astrology on the situation. I need to do a full tarot. But on the free question, I have the free question that I have for you, which I have the answer. I'm going to give you pretty good information. Okay. So here goes. The beginning of your experience in studies, if obviously you apply yourself, which it seems like, you will or are, there's a highlight in December for whatever reason that talks about you going for what you want and having a really good, I would say, semester, or if you want to break it down, good section of the study or the year, whatever it is. It talks about the beginning period being very, even if you've had schooling in the past, what's to come, right? So the forecast is really good. It talks about meeting your goals, but there's going to be a disruption along the way. And the disruption is going to be something due to something that you cannot control. So for example, natural disasters like snow or rain or storms, or you get it, right? You get the picture. It can also be something that, affect, maybe it's like a cold everybody gets, or maybe it's, noticing I'm using a, certain language that, diminishes fear. But you can understand what I'm saying to you if you read between the lines. So there's something that's going to be very disruptive. What is disruptive beyond your control? Well, it could be something that, like a leak, or it could be something that happens on the roads, or it could be something that happens, everybody gets the sniffles. You understand what I'm saying too? There's going to be a disruption along the line in your studies. And it's not because you leave it, or it's not because of finances. The next thing that the reading closes with is that you are going to find a new path after that. And it's going to be very interesting because it's going to be a female that opens the door for it. And that's something that you're just going to have to experience. If you want the full detail, you'd have to get a full reading. And it's we can do deep tarot or deep astrology. I recommend both, and I have a combo for both. All right. Thank you so much. All right. The next one is Steph, is your secret relationship with Matt over? All right, Matt. The relationship itself is not what's coming up in the answer to your question. I realize you had a question. I want to answer it directly, but unfortunately you're getting different information. So I'm going to tell you what's coming up. I kind of do a mixture of, what do you need to know when I do these freebies. There's a problem where he made a mistake in something, and it's going to catch up with him. And there's someone who is going to be more slick than him. So this it's about to have the plot thicken for him. All right, Emily, does Roman have feelings for you? Roman, Emily. Yes. Let's see. Tina is asking, does can still love you. Of course, you mean in love with you. The answer is yes. Sarah, is Codell in love with you? Sarah and Codell. Hang on one second, guys. Yes, but this talks about a lot of time that has been spent building the relationship without being face to face. So you have to understand there's something that's seems thin. It's a yes, but there's a lot more that needs to be done in person. Okay, let's see. Heather, will your relationship with David work out? David, why did I think Mark for some reason? Okay. For now, but I see a romantic disruption in the near future. So to prevent that, I guess feel it when you feel it, right? Cross that bridge, I guess. Let's see. Quan, does Chris take your relationship seriously? Quan. Okay, Chris. There's an issue here with one of you accepting the career of the other. And I say career loosely. Like maybe it's a project, or maybe it's a person's focus, or whatever he does. Either he's having an issue with what you're doing, your focus, or you're having an issue with his. And this is going to become an issue. So yeah, that's what comes up for you about Chris. All right, let's see. For example, it can be friendships. It can be, maybe like a hobby or a hangout they have. There's something where the person is not in agreement. They don't like it, All right, Katia, will you heal from your condition? So if you want to get a reading from me, medical readings are done through astrology to give you an answer on that one, okay? Because you can have very small conditions. That's not an accurate question to ask, with divination, the way you're asking it, because you can have little tiny allergies. You can have like tiny little things that are going on with you. And you need to be very specific. So astrology will pick up on exactly that, or a tarot reading will pick up on an issue. All right. Either way, that's not something that's done free. You need a reading for that. Okay. Let's see. Lita, is it over with Keith? No, it's not over, but you do have this is time sensitive. So I suggest that what he doesn't approve of and what's rubbing him the wrong way, maybe it's something that you want that he doesn't want. Maybe it's something that you keep bringing up in a conversation that's pissing him off. Maybe it's something that you are doing that he's complained about before. There is disharmony here that is affecting things. And this talks about, the ball is in your court. You're the one that can make the decisions. If you want a relationship with him, then you have to align with what he wants. Don't lose yourself in the process, but either people agree and have a good bond, or they're completely clashing constantly. So, are you going to put the relationship first or your ego? Whatever. Okay, Brittany, will Brian reach out to you? I would say there's going to be someone on his radar very soon. She has Aries placements and she's very intelligent. So how you go about that and how you can change things, that, you know, put your thinking cap on. Try to be proactive with that because, you know, obviously you're trying to grow that connection. But that's the answer that's coming. That's what's coming into fruition, is this connection with someone else. So obviously this is time for you to, you know, stir it a different way. Do what you got to do. All right. Bridget, will you get into a new home soon? I'm going to pass on that question because if you have money and good credit, then you can buy a house. If you don't, then you don't. You know, readings don't make money appear. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's math. Now, what I can answer for you is if you have worries about the house. Some houses are haunted. Some houses have like bad stigmas. Sometimes there's a neighbor nightmare situation. There's a lot of things that I can look into spiritually if a house that's the right one, or comparatively, or maybe it's a neighborhood, or, you know, something like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, you're asking a math question. This isn't accounting. It's psychic. Okay, Adri, is Armani going to reach out with good intentions? That's too many questions. If you want me to do a mind read on him, you could book one, but I will ask if he's going to reach out to you. Not at this time. Mo, is Elion in love with you? Well, I would say that the romance is definitely, you know, at an all-time high. What his intentions are, because relationship would be commitment, or love means commitment. So attraction is separate. The attraction is there. So hopefully you can turn that into love by working with that. But yeah, the attraction is there. Priscilla, what sign will you marry? That is, I'd have to do your astrology. That's what I specialize in. Love. So, and the sign that you marry has a whole story. Whole story. I talk about that all the time in my content because that's exactly what I do. The soulmate, the sign, the description of their career, when, where you meet, the whole 9 yards. That's what I do. All right, I'm a love specialist in astrology with 30 years experience. All right, guys, let's see. I answer a lot of career questions too if you guys have career questions, but all right, let's see. Am I going to find my purpose soon? Are you going to find it? It was there from the time you were in your mother's womb, when you were three signs before the one of your rising when you were born. It's in your chart. If you want to book one, I do that all the time. People come to me, what am I meant to do? What are my talents? How am I going to make a living? Sometimes there's different answers. So if a person is pushed by their parents to be a dental hygienist, for example, one of my clients, and they study that and they work at it, and then they marry and they have a kid, and then they take time off, and then they start a business at home that escalates for 5 years, that's in the chart. The job difference and the dental hygienist job, that's there. But then what they end up being is they go back to school and they're a teacher and they've done that 12 years. So that's all in the chart. And that's all the destiny of the person. So it's complicated. If you want me to look into what you're meant to do, I have videos on that kind of stuff with astrology. And I will do, it's called a vocation chart. All right, it's a vocation chart. Okay, let's see. Christian, and are Stevie and you really done for good? Okay, I gotcha. So Stevie and you. I would say no. I would say there's a sad phase coming with maybe some tears, a lot of heavy emotions. And then it talks about hearing from each other online or in the digital space. That can be a lot of different things. A person can be tagged in a photo, and all of a sudden a person reaches out, hey, I saw you at this. It can be a DM, it can be, there's a million combos to that, but it's talking about hearing from each other. It could be a phone call, it could be a voicemail, whatever. It can even be through a friend. So all I'm saying to you is you go through a phase of hurt and then you hear from each other and then things pick up again. So it can't rain all the time. All right, let's see. Asia, does T want to see you this weekend? No. I don't mean no, they don't want to. I mean there's an issue with them, the plans carrying through. Okay? All right, let's see. And remember, if it's a fake question, the answer is always no anyway by default. I don't look for that when I'm doing freebies. I don't care. Okay, let's see. If they ask me if they're going to be a giraffe, I'll be like, no, you won't be a giraffe. Okay, is Elvis going to talk to you? I don't know. Okay, Kathy, will you and Santino speak again? These are freebies, guys. If you want my pro work, you got to book it. Yes, I do. I actually see interest. But I see you waiting a lot on this person, expelling a lot of energy. I think you can do a lot more things to kind of make it happen. So the answer is yes, but I think that it can be exhausting if you're going to just wait around. So this is a timing thing. This means that when you're sitting around waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and then things pick up, and then by then you're mostly exhausted. So change it. Change it. All right, Lex, will Christian reach out to you, or, okay, will they reach out to you, Christian? Not at this time, but there will be a time they do. So, yeah. So there are things you can do, CCH. There are things you can do. There's a way to call a person's energy. So I'm a magical practitioner, but there's a lot of things that you can do with your own soul, your own energy, your own consciousness. That's powerful. Like, people don't, when someone gets evil eye from someone, it is a real thing. They didn't sit and do hexes. Hexes are very strong, but sometimes people can put negative energy on someone else and positive energy too. And you don't need magic for that, you know? So all I'm trying to tell you is, you can do things by, if you focus on someone and you focus and you focus and you have a game plan, you'll bump into them, or you will find where they're going to hang out, or you will find someone in common that can just, you happen to be there, or whatever, you know? So, all right, let's see. Sarah is oh, okay, I thought there was a question. Janice, will Joe and you get back together? So there's a sensitive topic that has come up in this reading. And this talks about a word that I think it's one of those like filtered words that you can't say. But think of conception disruption or plan B topic, if you understand what I'm saying to you. That kind of thing comes up, and it talks about a person being disrupted and that being an issue. So in some way, shape, or form, this takes precedence in what you're asking. Okay? Maybe it's something he dealt with right before you, or maybe it's something you dealt with together, or, you know, maybe it was something that, you know. All right. Okay, let's see. Is your current love going to be in your life long term? That would be astrology. So there's two ways to answer that. Number one, astrology is going to tell you how hard or how easy. It's going to tell you all the details that you want. But ultimately, readings do not substitute what you do. Your choice and how hard you work. Love is like a tree. You got to give it sunlight, nourishment, water it. If you abandon it, it dies. So it's a you thing, but astrology and deep love readings will give you a forecast and a lot of details about big things you can deal with together. How you get through that and what you decide to give each other, that's a human decision. All right, is Matteo being honest with you by Domenica? Yes. This also talks about, Domenica, there's something that your gut feeling is looking for. And I suggest you don't stop trying to find it. However, it's not that, I believe you're asking the wrong question, in a way. It's kind of tricky. Is he being honest with what he said? Yes. With what he has done? No. What you don't know won't hurt you kind of thing, right? So there's something that you're not looking for. It's very difficult to explain what I'm saying to you. I guess you can say it like this so you don't misunderstand me. People a lot of times twist what people say online. What I'm saying to you is you have a gut feeling that there's something off. You're not wrong. There is. There is something that is hidden. It is obscure, and you can find it. So maybe that's something like a conversation, or maybe it's like, a document, or, whatever it is, content, maybe something he looked at, maybe whatever. It's up to you to continue to try to find it because you are onto something. However, what you're asking is tricky because you're saying, is he being honest? When you ask it like that, you're focusing on what he has said with his mouth. So if you ask him a question and he answers you and he's honest, you can only address the questions that he's, if there's something you have not brought up, then there's no way that he's lying, you see? Because lying is verbal. So you have to find what your gut feeling is wanting you to find. Okay, let's see. Abby, will you and Riley get back together? At this time, it's going to be difficult, but it's not impossible. It's just, be careful you're not led into the wrong magical path to make that happen, because that is also coming up. So this is when a person goes to someone to kind of force that, say with some kind of candle or binding or something like that, and they don't know what they're buying. This talks about you getting into a jam with magic, okay, making a mess of things. Maybe today you don't know, think about it, but in the future this is coming up. Watch your steps. Make sure what you do is organic, okay? Let's see. I'm a magical practitioner, and notice I will not pitch sales of magic on my stream, yet that is most of what I do. I don't feel it fits everyone, and most people do it for the wrong reasons. So make sure you stay doing things natural. In your case, everybody's different. Okay, let's see. Crystal, does Kahili look for you? Okay, meaning like interested in a relationship. So I see what you're saying. I would say they don't know how. I would say that they're having trouble in that area. Maybe you can make it easier for them. Or they want to. It's just, let's see. T's asking, should you stop waiting on Monty? I've answered questions about Monty before. It seems familiar to me. No, I don't think you should. I think you definitely have something there. You put a lot of effort into it. I just feel that maybe you have to change your strategy. All right. Let's see. Christian is asking, are Stevie and you going to get married one day? Well, marriage is a choice, but I can see the destiny line in astrology if you want me to evaluate your, the love life of both of you. For example, if this person is a soulmate or, a soul companion or whatever it is, that would be an astrology love reading. Okay? So, in modern day life, separation of church and state, but in modern day life, documents and things like that are very valid, very valuable. And even in antiquity, marriage is very important. Ancient times, Victorian times, etc. But when it comes to the stars, the bond of love is seen differently, whereas the document is kind of separate. So let's see. Yeah, so you can go ahead and my information page is there. So all the info's on the header of my feed. All right, let's see. All right, guys, if you have a question, go ahead and put it down below and I will answer it for you. I'm going to be tomorrow on my live stream. I'm going to be doing free mini astrology readings. You have to know your exact time of birth on your birth certificate and the birthday of the love interest. So I'm going to do some mini love readings with the couples readings. There's many different kinds. I'll explain that. And then I'm also going to do some tarot as well. So it can be either career for the individual or I'll announce it. So if you're interested, just remember you need the exact time of your birth. Don't rely on mom's memory. Okay? You could be way off on your rising. So if she says 12/20, you got to go by her birth certificate. All right, let's see. Or it will void the reading. Because twins and triplets I read for are minutes apart and they have very different lives. So you got to be right on that if you want very accurate astrology. All right, let's see. Is Darwin going to come back with good intentions? I wouldn't say they're either good or bad. They're just his. That's what he wants. All right, guys, thank you so much. You can check out my page for my information on how to book and everything like that. So if you have a free yes and no, you can go ahead and put that down below. And I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.